What up? What up? It is Alex, the Fantasy Football Hustler, back at you. I got another weekly start and sit episode. We are breaking down every single game, every single position. We're talking about every single fantasy relevant player. If it's your first time here, hit that subscribe button because I will be your biggest resource throughout this season. And I am always going live. So you want to turn on those notifications so you can come join in on a live stream where you can get your questions answered about your specific team, not just these videos that I create for the masses. Let's kick it off. Oh, we start off with the visiting team. We're starting off with the Texans going over to New Jersey to play those goddamn Jets.
The goddamn Jets.
Now, the Jets have been pretty stingy against the quarterbacks, these last 3 weeks excluded. I'm still leaning on sitting CJ Stroud. Diggs is on IR, out for the season. Nico's on IR, still probably for a few more weeks. You got Tank Dell, Xavier Hutchinson, Robert Woods, Mechie. It's going to be ugly. I don't want to start CJ. And I really don't want to start any of the wide receivers. The only one that I will start here will be Sergio Mix-a-Lot. And I'm pretty nervous about him as well because it's not like the Jets have been slouches against the running back. The last 2 games, they've given up good points to the running backs, but the 4 games before that weren't really giving up much. But I still got to start him because it's going to be a volume play for him, I'm sure. Dalton Schultz, someone else. If you don't have a good tight end option, I would play Dalton Schultz. It's a pretty bad matchup, but it's really more about the volume than anything. And with everybody missing over there now, I bet Dalton Schultz, he gets more targets moving forward. I just don't see anything but that being the case with him, as him getting more targets moving forward. And the tight end landscape is so bad. Now, jumping into those goddamn Jets.
The goddamn Jets.
I'm really leaning on sitting everybody. I feel like this is going to be such an ugly Thursday night game. We're talking single QB. I don't want to start Aaron Rodgers. The Texans have given up some points to QBs over the entire season, but it's not like they've been giving up an insane amount of points. And the Thursday night, I'm just leaning on sitting people. That's like my stance now, is if they're a must start anytime throughout the week, I'll play them. If they're not a must start, I don't want to start them on Thursday. What sucks is Breece Hall, that we feel like we have to start every single game. But dude, I don't know if I could do it on this one. I'm probably still going to start him. You're probably still going to start him. I just really don't think a good game is coming. Texans are giving up like the 7th lowest points to running backs. And then we got a game where they know that it's probably not going to be a lot of high-powered offense, so the defense probably going to be going crazy. The only position that seems to be getting any kind of points against the Texans is the wide receivers. And I feel like Garrett Wilson, I would start. Devontae Adams, I'm leaning on sitting. Alan Lazard, we don't even know if he's going to play. I'm leaning on sitting. Mike Williams, definitely not starting. And then there's no way that I could play Tyler Conklin. Texans are giving up like the 2nd lowest points to tight ends right now. It is all bad. So all in all, we're in for an ugly Thursday night game. Now we got the Cowboys going over to Atlanta to play the Falcons. There's 3 positions that the Falcons really give up some points to, and that's the QBs, the wide receivers, and the tight ends. Why don't we start with Dak? We're going to start him. The running backs. Feel like I want to sit everybody. I feel like Rico missing that game due to just being sick. I feel like that's Fugazi. What do you guys think? Throw it in the comments. Do you guys think it was bullshit that he actually got sick? Falcons giving up like the 3rd least points to running backs right now. And if you take away this game that just happened versus Tampa Bay, I bet they're even lower than 3rd. So I just don't want to start any of the running backs here. The wide receivers, I'm only starting CD. I don't have the stones to play any of the other peeps, even though Dak probably will spread it around a little bit. I'm just going to play CD. We're going to sit everybody else unless you're in a really deep league, you're super desperate. And then Jake Ferguson, we are firing him up.
All right, fire him up!
It's a great matchup for the tight ends, so we got to deploy them. To the Falcons side, this is going to be pretty easy because you don't want to start everybody. Like the Cowboys have been so bad on defense. They give up a crazy amount of points to the quarterback. So Kirk Cousins, yes, we're starting them. They give up an insane amount of points to the running backs. They have one of the worst run defenses in the league. So Bijan, starting them. I'd even start Tyler Algier. If you need some kind of like dart throw flex, he would be a guy who I would get in the mix on that. Drake London, Darnell Mooney, starting them both. Let's do it. Kyle Pitts. If we go back a couple weeks, I would say I'm not starting Kyle Pitts. Matchup and because of him. He's been killing it over the last couple weeks. And guess what? Over the last 3 weeks, the Cowboys have been giving up a crazy amount of points to tight ends. So Kyle Pitts is a smash start right now as well. It's crazy how the Cowboys turned into a team that you need to deploy everybody against. Next game on the slate, we got the Broncos going over to Baltimore to play the Ravens. Now, here's one thing that's crazy. The Broncos have been balling, and the Ravens, as of right now, they're giving up like the second most points to fantasy QBs. So Bo Nix, I'm going to lean on starting him. More of a super flex start to me, but there may be some people who are desperate in a single QB league. Javonte Williams, I'm leaning on starting him. The running backs is the only position that the Ravens kind of hold down a little bit. So I say he's more of an RB2 like type of start, maybe even a flex. But the way that the Ravens have been giving up points to the running backs over the last couple weeks, I'm not scared to start him anymore. How about that?
How about that?
Cortland Sutton. It's always like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but the Ravens have been so bad that I feel it might be like a flex, but I am going to start him. Nobody else, though. Really nervous about Lil Jordan Humphrey, Troy Franklin, Valet. Very nervous about those guys. If you need a sneaky tight end play, Adam Troutman going to be that sneaky tight end play. Ravens have been giving up a ton of booty to the tight end. We're talking 2 top 10 performances just in the last 2 weeks. And he was one of those guys on my waiver wires that we said, don't tell nobody about.
But shh, don't tell nobody.
Ha, could be the guy this week that saves you. Now to the other side of the ball here, the home team, the Ravens. It's really a shitty matchup against the Broncos. They've been balling on offense, but the plays that they've been balling like crazy is on defense. Literally, there's only been 2 quarterbacks that even had somewhat decent performances against them this year. But I am still going to say start Lamar because of the running game. He should be able to keep his floor high like he always does. I really can't condone sitting Derrick Henry. But the Broncos, they've only given up 3 good performances out of their top 8 games. But could Derrick Henry be one of those guys? I say that he can. So I'm going to say still start him, even though it's a really bad matchup for him. Now, the wide receivers, up until the last 2 weeks when Patrick Surtain is a little bit banged up, they were really shutting everybody down. They're still giving up like the least amount of points to wide receivers, even though the last 2 games they've given up some points. I'm going to say start Zay Flowers because I really don't think that Pat Surtain would follow him around as much as they move him around. I feel like now that they got Deontay Johnson, they'd probably sit Patrick Surtain on Deontay Johnson, who I want to sit in this game. Rashad Bateman, more of a dart throw guy if you're super, super desperate at the flex. But Zay Flowers, I'll start him. A tight end is the only position that's been getting points on them. So Mark Andrews, could he do it 4 weeks in a row? I doubt it. And just for your sake, for everybody who's watching, because I keep saying sit him and he keeps doing good, I'm going to say sit Mark Andrews. He's going to be a bum. Got it? Let's get on to the next game. Now, here's a game that I am not excited for. This AFC East battle. Miami going over to Buffalo. Buffalo is a tough matchup, just like Miami is on defense. I'm really leaning on if you have the stones and you need to win, I want to sit everybody. Because what's more than likely going to happen is this is going to be a very low scoring game where there is not a lot going on either side of the ball. So Tua, super flex, got to do what you got to do. Single QB, I'm sitting him. Bill's giving up like the 9th least points to QBs. And just look at what they did last week to Geno. I know he didn't have DK, but it was ugly. A-chain. I'm going to lean on starting him, but I'm super nervous. Buffalo, even though for a while they've been giving up a crazy amount of points to the running backs, the last 2 weeks, it has not been the case. They really buckled down ever since Terrell Bernard came back. And I know he came back, got hurt, and didn't play, but whatever. But literally the last 2 weeks, they have been giving up like nothing to the running backs. So if you do play A-chain, you better go a little bit more higher upside with the other positions. I know it's going to be impossible to sit Tyreek and Waddle, but I feel like you got to do it. We still haven't seen Tyreek get off this year. Still haven't really seen Waddle. You know, we can go back to like week 1 and stuff, but that's like it. We're only playing the name as of right now. And if we're playing the matchups, Bills are one of the worst matchups for wide receivers. There's only been 3 games where they've even given up any kind of like decent points. Outside of that, week 8 and week 4, we're talking about them giving up like the least amount of points to anybody. I'm just leaning on sitting Tyreek Hill and sitting Waddle. It doesn't mean that I won't play him, but this video is for the masses. Now, if you have Tyreek Hill and a bunch of bums, of course I'm going to play Tyreek. If you have Waddle and a bunch of bums, of course I'm going to play Waddle. But I'm just leaning on if you are in a more shallow league and you got other options besides Tyreek, deploy him. Same with John Buffalo. They're giving up not too many points to the tight ends, and I just don't want it. I want to sit as many people as possible in this game. Even though on paper it should have one of the highest over-unders, I bet that this game doesn't even get to 42 points. I bet we don't even get 3 touchdowns on each side of the ball here. It's going to be ugly. Both sides of the ball. It is going to be very ugly. It's crazy because I don't think one time this year have I ever suggested sitting Josh Allen, and I'm going to say sit him in a single QB league if you have a better option. Miami's giving up like nothing to the quarterbacks. And even last week, he did give up a couple points to Kyler. Even with that, they're still giving up like the least amount of points to QBs throughout the entire season. So I'm just going to say, if you have someone else, I'm not saying start Mason Rudolph over Josh Allen, but I'm saying if you got another guy who could potentially be top 5, top 6 this week because of their matchup, I say start him over Josh Allen. Don't sit Josh Allen for a bum, okay? The one guy who I'm starting with confidence on this squad is James Cook, because the Dolphins have not been able to stop the run game at all. So I'm starting James Cook with all types of confidence. On the wide receiver side of things, I really just want to sit everybody. Like if you have to play one guy, I'll say Coleman, but I really don't want to start him. And then same with Dalton Kincaid. Nope, this is not National Tight End Day this week. So no, do not start him. Miami has been very tough against the tight ends. Now, here's a game that I'm very nervous about. It is the Saints going to Carolina to play the Panthers. We still don't know what the status is on Derek Carr, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Come back throughout the week. If Derek Carr plays, of course we're playing him versus the Panthers. They just give up points to all the quarterbacks. I'm not playing Spencer Rattler, though. I will play Alvin Kamara because we already know what the Panthers are giving up to running backs, a lot of points. If it's Derek Carr, I'll play Olave. He's the only one I want to play out of the wide receivers. I'm not playing Juwan Man Johnson. Taysom Hill, you have to be very desperate, but I know there's some of you guys who are desperate. So if you are desperate, I will start Taysom Hill this week. All right, now to the Panthers. If the Panthers were any good, I would just say start everybody, because that's how the Saints have been. If Andy Dalton plays, I will play him. I don't want to start Bryce Young. I will start Chuba. This is like one of Chuba's only good matchups moving forward. I'm pretty nervous about the wide receivers here, but I would start Leggett. I don't know about Coker. I don't know if it's time to treat our nose just yet.
I said, God damn.
And we're not starting any of the tight ends, even though it is a good matchup for them. Just not going to risk it. Now we got the Raiders going over to Cincinnati to get their butts whooped by the Bengals. I really don't want to start anybody here. Even though the Bengals have been giving up some nice points to the quarterbacks, I don't want it. I don't want any part of the running backs. I actually defend the running backs pretty well. If anybody, it'll be Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers. That's really it. For Jacoby, it's only more of a dart throw flex. Brock Bowers, yeah, he's going to be one of the best tight ends out there. Outside of that, I don't want nobody on the Raiders. Well, there's 2 guys on the Bengals who we are blindly starting, and this is a great matchup for both of them. That is Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Against the Raiders, I'm deploying Chase Brown, maybe Zach Moss in a flex, but I'm leaning on just sitting him. It seems like it's all the Chase show now. And for Higgins, if he plays, I'll play him, but you guys are going to have to come back throughout the week so we can monitor his practice reports. And Mike Gesicki, Eric All Jr., I'm going to lean on sitting them in this game. Over the last couple weeks, the Raiders have defended the tight ends pretty well, and it's not like they're smash starts either way. Now we got the Chargers going all the way to Cleveland to play the Browns and Jameis Winston. What do you guys think? Jameis going to be eating a dub or Herbert going to be eating a dub? As far as fantasy goes, I don't want to start anybody on the Chargers. The Browns have been shutting down quarterbacks and running backs regularly. Look at last week. They just played Lamar and Derrick Henry, shut them down. The only guy that I will play with any kind of confidence this week is Ladd McConkey, and that's after what we saw from him last week. So I'm still nervous, and he is more of a flex play to me. Will Disley, I don't want to play him. The Browns have been defending the tight end extremely well. So the only one that I'm playing with any kind of confidence is Ladd McConkey this week, and that's still confidence as a flex. Make sure you guys ask your start and sit questions, because based on your team, I may say to start one of these guys, but just for the masses, no, sit them all. Now to the Brown side of things. There's only two guys that I will play here based on the matchups, and that's Jameis Winston and Cedric Tillman. Nick Chubb, I don't think is going to be a good start versus the Chargers. They've been shutting down the running backs pretty regularly. And David Njoku, if we went back to before the Chargers bye, I would say he's a smash start, but the Chargers have been giving up like nothing to the tight ends these past couple weeks. Even on tight end day, gave up like nothing. The only guys that I want to start here from the Browns are going to be Jameis Winston and Cedric Tillman. Jerry Jeudy and Nick Chubb, long shot dart throw flexes to me, and I'm leaning on sitting them. Let's jump over to the Commandos going up against the Giants. Let's see if the Commandos can catch them with their pants down. Jaden Daniels, not a good matchup, but I'm going to start him. Brian Robinson, it is a great matchup. I'm going to start him. Austin Eckler would even be a decent flex this week, in my opinion. Terry McLaurin, Noah Brown, Zacchaeus, all of them have really bad matchups this week, but I feel like I got to start Terry here. The Giants, if there's one thing that they do well, is defend the wide receivers. Their secondary is probably like the best part of their defense. But Scary Terry, I feel like he's earned the start. Zach Ertz, not going to be the week to deploy him against the Giants. Giants have been very stingy against the tight ends. Over the last 4 weeks, the Giants have given up no points to the tight ends. 2 of those weeks, they gave up the least amount of points out of any teams to tight ends. So sit Zach Ertz. Now to the Giants side of things. About a month ago, we would say start everybody versus the Commanders because they were just giving up an insane amount of points. But now they're not. They're actually a really horrible matchup for the quarterbacks. I'm sitting Pesos, aka Daniel Jones. Tracy, if he plays, I'll play him, but it's a horrible matchup for him, and he's still in concussion protocol as of right now. So even if you want to start him, I would suggest hitting that subscribe button and making sure that you are here to follow up on that. Malik Neighbors, the only one I'm starting with any kind of confidence. Wan'Dale Robinson, maybe in a dart throw flex, but that's about it. Darius Slayton, nope. Theo Huxtable Johnson, nope, not in this week. Commandos have been very stingy against the tight ends. So yeah, it's Neighbors is a smash. I feel like we just can't sit him at all anyways. And Wan'Dale, dart throw flex. Patriots taking on the Tennessee Titans. This game is going to be very ugly. Drake May's in concussion protocol, leaning on sitting him anyways, even if he plays. The Titans have been very stingy against the quarterbacks. Ramondre Stevenson, anytime I say he's bad, he does the opposite. So this week, he should be doing bad against the Titans, but I'm going to lean on starting him because the Titans have been giving up a lot of points over the last 2 weeks to running backs, and let's hope Ramondre can do it for us because I'm not the only one I know who wants to whoop his ass right now. Am I right? Sitting everybody else, though. Sitting Pop, sitting Boutte, sitting Kendrick Bourne. I don't want any of them. Also sitting Hunter Henry. It's a really bad matchup against the Titans. I know Sam Laporta got his touchdown last week, but let's not forget it took the running back getting the ball and throwing it to him for that to happen. Let's hope for the Titans that Will Levis is not playing and that it's Mason Rudolph. I still don't want to start either one of them, but let's just hope for our Calvin Ridley that it is Mason Rudolph. I will start Tony Pollard, though. Really, the only position that Patriots give up a bunch of points to is the running backs. So I'm going to say start Pollard, especially if Spears is out. Just more volume for him. I'm going to say start Ridley. He's the only guy there, and I hope that they're realizing it and they just give him an insane amount of targets every single week. Westbrook kind, super dart throw flex, but that's the only way that I would consider starting him, not starting Chig or anybody else over here either. Now we got the Bears going over to Arizona to play the Cardinals. Cardinals are actually a good matchup at every position except the tight end. Tight end are just like middle of the road. So I'm going to say start Caleb. I'm going to say start DeAndre Swift. I'm going to say start DJ. I want to score more. But we're sitting Keenan Allen. We're sitting Roma Dunze. Those guys just make me too nervous not starting them unless it's a flex play where I'm super desperate. And then Cole Kmet, I'm just going to blindly lean on sitting him. It all depends on your options when it comes to a Cole Kmet. But most guys, I think they're going to do good against Cardinals this week. Now to the Cardinals side of things. And when it comes to the Bears, they defend everybody well with the exception to the tight end. So Trey McBride, smash start this game. Kyler Murray and James Conner, I'm leaning on sitting in this. Bears have been very tough. And had it not been for that crazy Hail Mary in the last seconds, Jaden Daniels wouldn't have really done that good against them last week. James Conner, I'm making this video for the masses, so I'm not saying you won't start James Conner over some bums, but just based on the matchup, Conner is a sit for me. Same with Marvin Harrison Jr., same with Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch. The only one I'm excited about is Trey McBride. Trey McBride to the moon, baby. Those Jaguars are going over to Philadelphia to play those Eagles. This side of the ball is going to be very easy. The Jaguars sitting everybody. I don't want to play Trevor. I don't want to play Travis Etienne or Tank Bigsby. It's a horrible matchup for the running backs. Brian Thomas Jr., they said he's going to miss 2 to 4 weeks. Then they come back the next day and say he's day to day. I don't want to play anybody for the wide receivers over here. I know Parker Washington is like the hottest thing going right now. I don't want to play him. I do not want to play Evan Ingram. It is going to be a very ugly game for the Jaguars. And anybody who actually gets points, I think it's going to be sheer luck because over the last couple weeks, the Eagles have been shutting people down. And I want no parts of it. The Jags have been so bad, I want no parts of them. If you feel good about them getting insane garbage time points, that's the only way that I would even consider starting any one of these guys. Now, when it comes to the Eagles, this is fun because the Jaguars literally give up like the most points to every single position. No cap. So Jalen Hurts, start. Saquon, start. A.J. Brown, start. Devonta Smith, start. Whoever the tight end is for the Eagles, start. If it's Goddard or Calcaterra, start them because it is a great matchup against the Jaguars. Nice and easy. Let's go on to the next. Now we got an NFC North battle between the Lions and the Green Bay Packers. We'll start with the Lions here. And the Green Bay pretty much defends every position well with the exception of the tight end. So I'm just going to blindly say start Sam Laporta in this one. Packers kind of middle of the road when it comes to defending the quarterbacks. So unless you have a really solid option, I'm just going to start Jared Goff here. I'm going to start David Montgomery and Gibbs as well. Packers are defending the running back a little bit better of the last couple games than they were at the beginning of the season, but I still want to start both of these guys. Amon-Ra, it's a tough matchup for him, probably going against Jair Alexander, but I got to start him because J-Mo's still missing a game. We don't want to start Tim Patrick or Allen Robinson. If anybody is going to be that super dart throw, it is going to be Khalif Raymond. Look at what he did last week. He was getting in the mix, and he has 3 weeks in a row with double-digit points, and they move him around a bunch. That's the reason why I would consider starting him as a dart throw flex, but that's about it. Now jumping over to the Green Bay side of things, the Lions give up a bunch of points to the quarterbacks and to the wide receivers. They give up like almost nothing to the running backs and to the tight ends. Now, that being said, Jordan Love, if he starts, we're going to start him. Malik Willis, we're only starting him if we're in desperate super flex mode. Running backs, it's a tough matchup, but I'm going to say start Josh Jacobs just because he gets the crazy amount of volume. The Lions defend the tight end so well. I'm going to say sit Tucker Kraft, unless you have like nobody, obviously. And then for the wide receivers, I'm leaning on starting Reed and Dubs because I feel like no matter who the quarterback is, they're probably going to be getting into a little bit of garbage time if it's not Jordan Love. So they're probably going to have to keep throwing to keep pace. And if it is Jordan Love, he's going to be throwing to try to get ahead and get the advantage going against them, in which case I would still like Jane Reed and Dubs. It's going to be a tough NFC North battle, though. I can guarantee that. Next game on the slate, we got an NFC battle. Seahawks have been giving up points everywhere. So Stafford, I'm starting. Kyren, I'm starting. Puka, I'm starting. Cup, more of a flex guy, but I'm starting. I'm really nervous about starting Colby Parkinson, but it is the matchup to do it. So if you have nobody else and you need a dart throw, it's a great matchup versus the Seahawks. That's the only way that I'm going to start him. Now to the home team side of things. The opposite with the Rams defense, because they defend every position well except the tight ends. So if you are desperate for a tight end, Noah Fant, I feel like is a decent play this week. I'm going to lean on sitting Geno unless DK plays. I'm going to play Ken Walker because I feel like I just can't sit him at all. If DK plays, I'm going to play him. I'm a little bit nervous about JSN and Lockett without DK. It just seems like they aren't able to get much going. So if DK plays, JSN, probably a flex. Tyler Lockett, I'm leaning on sitting, like either way. But DK needs to play. He's the straw that stirs the drink because all the defenses need to focus on him when he's out there. And when he's not out there, it seems to be a lot easier to defend everybody else. Hey, we made it all the way to Sunday Night Football. We got the Colts going to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. And we have a quarterback change for the Colts. And you know why we had a quarterback change at the Colts is because Anthony Richardson is a bum.
He's a bum. He was a bum then, and he's a bum now.
I got a quote from inside their locker room. This is what the coach said to Anthony Richardson.
Because I'm too old to waste my time trying to train a no-good loser like you bum.
He has been pushed to the side. He can't throw anyway, so it's way better for our fantasy football players. I will say start Joe Flacco versus the Vikings. If there's one position that's been scoring points on the Vikings, it's been the quarterback. So that's why I like Joe Flacco this week. I'm going to say start Jonathan Taylor. For the last 2 weeks, the Vikings have actually been giving up some points to the running backs. Prior to that, they were pretty much shutting down all the running backs. One position they give up a lot of points to is the wide receivers. I'm going to start Pittman and I'm going to start Downs. And if you need a flex and more of a dart throw flex, but Alec Pierce with Joe Flacco, we know we like him way more than with Anthony Richardson. Am I right? And I think it's going to be Mo Alley Small. So I'm just going to lean on sitting Mo Alley Smallcocks. Now to the Vikings side of things. The Colts have been a smash matchup for all positions. I know over the last couple of games they've been a little bit better, but I'm starting Sam Darnold, starting Aaron Jones. What do you guys think? Should we start Justin Jefferson? I'm leaning on yes. Should we start Jordan? I am leaning like he's a dart throw flex to me. I'm leaning on sitting him, but dart throw flex maybe. If TJ Hawkinson plays, it's a smash matchup for him. We still don't know if he's going to play. If he does play, I will play him, though. Yes, we made it all the way to Monday Night Football, and we got the Bucs going over to Kansas City to play the Chiefs. I think the Bucs are in trouble here. The Chiefs, they have not been the best matchup for any position in particular. They've actually been one of the worst matchups for running backs. Over the last 2 weeks, they have been okay for the quarterbacks. And I am going to lean on playing Baker because they're just so good against defending the running backs. I feel like there is just going to be throwing going down in this game. Has to be. Because I really don't want to play any of the running backs. Like, you got to feel really lucky to play Rashad White or Bucky Irving and really hope that they get it through the run game. I'm just leaning on sitting both of those guys. Remember, come in and ask your start sit questions because I don't want to play bums over these guys, but I really want to sit them if I have decent options. Mike Evans, if he plays, I'll play him. He's the only guy, though. Like, I really don't want to play McMillan. I don't want to play Palmer. I don't want to play Shepard. If anybody, I'll play Otten because I think the volume is going to be good for him. But the Chiefs over the last 2 weeks, they have been really shutting down the tight ends. And so that's give me a little cause to pause. They shut down Kittle. They shut down Bowers over the last couple weeks. So it's not like they shut down bums. So it is very ugly on Monday night on the Bucs side of things. Now on to those 7-0 Chiefs. Could be a trap game for them, but everything that we are seeing says this is a smash matchup for the Chiefs fantasy-wise. Starting Patrick Mahomes. Bucs have been given a crazy amount of points to the quarterbacks. I'm going to start Kareem Hunt, mainly because over the last couple weeks, the Bucs have not been theirself with defending the run. So I'm going to say Kareem Hunt. Let's get him in there. Secondary, super banged up for the Bucs. I'll say DeAndre Hopkins. We can start him. I still don't want to start Xavier Worthy unless it's in some super dart throw, like flex capacity. And then Travis Kelce, it's a smash matchup versus the Bucs. The last 3 weeks, they've been giving up like top 10 points to the tight ends. 4 out of the last 5 weeks, they've been giving up like top 10 points to the tight ends. So Travis Kelce, we must play him in this smash matchup. Let's go. And there you have it. We made it through all of these games. We only had 2 teams on bye, so we got through 15 games. If you made it through this far, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment, hit the like button. Let me know what you liked about the video. Let me know what you didn't like about the video. Make sure that you guys ask your start sit questions in the comments as well too, because no matter what, even if I said to sit someone for the masses, I still might have to say you play that person because you have like trash options compared to the one guy who we're worried about. So make sure you hit the subscribe and turn on the notifications so you come in live, ask your start sit questions during a live video. Go join our community at 420crew.com. It is the dopest fantasy community around. Pun intended. Go follow me everywhere on social media. Go to fantasyfootballhustler.com. That's got all my links there. And go get yourself a dope t-shirt. Go to 420crewmerch.com. Go get one of your friends a dope 420 shirt for Christmas. Treat yourself to an early birthday present, early Christmas present. That's 420crewmerch.com. And it's going to be a crazy week 9. Who is ready? We got some other videos popping up around here. Go ahead and click one of those and show some love. I appreciate you guys. I'm bringing this to you weekly. Peace out.